Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI. You may have heard a lot about the Flux model. We talk about it here all the time. It's a model for generating AI images and video and whatever else you can throw it at. And Flux is well known for being extremely high quality. But when it first came out, it didn't have a lot of the tools that we were used to with earlier versions of Stable Diffusion, things like IP adapters and control nets and just various ways to mix and match images. But that has all changed now, and I'm going to show you how you can jump in with these Flux tools yourself, even if you don't have a PC of your own or a GPU that will support it, by utilizing the services of our regular sponsor, Mimic PC, which allows you to run these high-end AI applications remotely so you don't have to invest in a GPU if you don't want to, or you're using your GPU for something else, and you can offload some of the work to these remote systems, particularly if you're just testing a new technology. We're going to be using these Flux tools within the Comfy UI interface, and we're going to run all of that over on Mimic PC. If you're not familiar with Mimic PC, it is free to set up an account over there, and what you're paying for is storage and compute time. And there are various ways to save money on that. We'll talk about it briefly as we get going with our own machines. And one of the really handy things about Mimic PC is that I can just leave you a link in the description. You can click it, and you will be running the very workflows that I'm showing you on your own virtual machine, and you'll be able to do exactly what I'm doing without having to install anything or worry about any kind of configuration whatsoever. First, let's get logged into our Mimic PC account. One of the easiest ways to find these cool new workflows and what's going on currently is just to go up here to the Discover section, and you will see what people have uploaded and what's new and hot and various categories of things. In this case, we choose the Flux tab up here, and you can see some of the tools that we're going to show you today. I'm going to show you this Flux Redux Style Fusion workflow that's up here now on Mimic PC for you to download. I'm also going to share my own version of this workflow that adds a few little bells and whistles. And then we're going to be checking out the Flux IP Adapter workflow as well as the Fill Smart Inpainting. So these are all really cool tools. Let's check them out now. Since I've already set up machines with these things running, I'm going to go to these machines. So let's start with the Flux Redux. It's really fun to play with, and I'm going to show you first their simple version and then my more complicated version, which gives you more options. To run any of these, you just click on the Operate button. You're going to be now reaching your first critical decision. Which GPU do you want to use? And I'm going to tell you right now, anything having to do with Flux, just go up to the Ultra. You'll see that you have two choices here for payment. You have Instant and Bargain. Instant will get you onto the machine and keep you on the machine no matter what until you are done, and you will pay full price. You can save 50% if you go with the Bargain machine, which is given to you as available. And there is the possibility of losing some work. When you choose that option, you're given a screen that explains all of that. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and choose the Ultra Instant so we can get right in there. The machines also start up faster when you use the Instant. If I know that my session is likely to go for more than 30 minutes, I would click the Automatic Extension button here so I don't have to worry about the machine shutting off in the middle of a process. Then once I start the machine, it takes about 2.5 minutes for it to get going, loading up the workflow and getting it ready to go. And you're not charged for any of that installation time. While that's loading, I'm actually going to show you one of the advantages of having remote machines like this. I can actually load up all three machines right now that I need to do this video for you and have them running concurrently, and it's not putting any taxation on my system at all. They're just all running concurrently up there. It'll just make it faster for me to go through this process rather than waiting for all these machines to load between demonstrations here. But I just wanted you to know that is something that you can do. You can be running a face fusion process, you can be running a Comfy UI process over here, you can be doing voice clonings on another machine. It's just up to you. You can run as many as you want. Because I know that eventually I'm going to be showing you the Flux control net. I'm going to make sure I've got the GPU I want and go ahead and click Operate, and then that can be loading up in the background so we won't have to wait for that as I'm recording here. Here is the basic Flux Redux workflow that we found in the Discovery section on Mimic. And it's very, very simple. You're just going to input 2 images and an optional prompt and get a result. So let me just show you the basic idea here. We're going to drag one image here of Tracy. We'll combine it with something pretty abstract like this. I won't change anything at this point and just click Q. Keep in mind that this is a Flux process and the Flux models are large, and so the first time you run the workflow, it's going to take a hot minute, but after that it won't take that long to render. While those models are loading, I'll show you that over here we have strength sliders. Right now they're both set to 1, which means both of these images are going to have equal impact on the final result. If you want to change that balance, you can change these values, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as this is done. We're getting our preview down here already, and oh my gosh, I love it. And check that out. I think it's way obvious how the styles have been merged. We have her in her getup here, and then we have a cartoon version of this and a cartoon version of that. They blended them in a lake. It's just amazing. Let's drag a picture of a chicken in there, and then this girl, and again, no prompt, just to see what will happen. And it immediately begins to render this time. And now we've blended the girl with the chicken. So what would happen if I took the value of the girl down to about half and rendered that? See what I'm talking about? The creative possibilities are limitless. We're going to take this picture and combine them. And now we get something cool like this. Of course, we can adjust these values to give one or the other image more prominence. But you'll notice, of course, that this face is not this face. It more recognizes that it's a man with a beard with glasses than it is Bob Doyle specifically. The workflow I'm going to show you now solves that problem and gives you a lot more features. But that's the basic essence of the Redux tool. Really creative ways to blend images. So here is the more advanced version of this Flux Redux, a workflow I put together with a few little things that'll make it even more flexible. First of all, you can use it just to change the style of an image with just a simple text prompt without using a secondary image. So if we load in an image of Tracy here and say blonde 3D Pixar Disney and just click Q, no other images loaded anywhere, and let it do its thing. And there you go. As expected, we have got a blonde who is similar to Tracy, but not exactly Tracy, in the same style. You'll notice that instead of a weight slider in this particular version, we have image strength, and that was set to medium. And if I was to add anything to this prompt like in a train station and click Q, and now she's in a train station. One little note here, the output image is decided by your input image here. We are sending the image size information to a node that then sets up the size of the image that's going to be produced. We've also added the ability to use LoRa's to add more realism or any other effect or style that a LoRa can bring you. But in this case, it's very useful for adding a better likeness to the output result. So if I'm using Tracy as a beginning point and I want Tracy on the other side, I can use a LoRa that I have trained on Tracy's face to make sure that that happens. The first thing I need to do is get one of these LoRa's onto the Mimic PC system. If you're doing this locally, you don't have to worry about that. It's probably already on your system. But over here in the file section here, you would navigate to Models, LoRa's, and click to select Files, and then you would upload, and then it will appear here. Once that's done, you'll actually need to relaunch the machine in order for it to show up in the drop-down over here. So now that the machine is relaunched, I can find the Tracy LoRa underneath this file. I know from experience that a strength of around 1.26 is good, and now that's going to insert Tracy's face into what we do from this point on. So we still have the blonde 3D Pixar Disney in a train station. We'll click on Q. So how about that? Now we've got her in that style in the train station. If we take out the Pixar stuff and cue that, now we have a more photorealistic rendering. Now that was the more complicated of the additions that I've made. The other stuff is easy peasy. It's just the ability to add more images. So it's more like what we showed you at first. We can add up to 2 more images to blend with this. So all we have to do to activate that area is to click this little fast groups bypasser, which I've highlighted in purple here, and click enable image 2, and now we can load a different image in here to add a style. Like what would happen if we put this picture of Santa Claus in there? I don't know. We're going to find out. We can impact the image strength here. Right now they're both on medium, so let's just see what an even weight does. So now we've got a combination of Tracy and Santa, train station, and the purple background of the studio that Santa is in. What would happen if I pop this up just for exaggerated purposes to highest and leave her at medium and render that? And the answer to that question is to never do that again. If we want to add a third image to the mix, we just enable image 3. That'll do. Let's just take them out of a train station, let the images do the work, and click on Q. All right, not a ton of that third picture is showing up here. Everything's set to medium at this point, but that little emblem is part of this, right? So let's change this to high. And in fact, why don't we just change this initial image too to somebody else? Give somebody else a chance, Tracy. We can actually do a little bit of a face swap situation here. We'll use this as the initial image. We'll change this one. We'll choose that one for some reason. I guess we can leave this here, but we'll change the LoRa model to my friend Rob. So that's a whole new element in here. Let's just keep things how they are. We won't overthink this. Click on Q and see what we get. Way too much of this because we have this on highest still. Let's actually put this on low. We'll keep this on medium, and we'll put this on high. So we have the best chance of getting a human face in here. Sorry about that. Trying to see if I see Rob in there at all. I actually do, but you don't know him like I do. Let's click Q. So now Rob's face has replaced mine. Still Santa. Got the armor going here. And we're in the studio. So lots of crazy stuff you could do with that one. Here is the ControlNet/IP adapter workflow. It's not dissimilar to what we just did. It's not mixing and combining images in that crazy way, but it actually gives you a little bit more control, particularly with the poses, thanks to the control nets we have down here in the form of a depth map and a canny map. Much like the other, we start with an image that we're going to apply a style or some other information from this image here. That's what the IP adapter does. Let's choose 2 totally different images here. Let's take this one here, and then here, let's use an image like this. Here we have weight sliders with numeric values instead of low, medium, high, and so on. We're going to leave that right there for now. In fact, we're going to leave everything set at default and click on Q. Just a reminder, this is Flux stuff here, so this loading process of the models can take you a little bit of time, but that is a one-time long wait. Here are the results of the control net process. Here we have a depth map and a canny map, and both of these are going to dictate the outline and basic general shape and form of the end image. That's what control nets do. So more than just the style transfer, we also have the pose transfer, so that the end result should be me in a suit like this in this position as defined by these control nets here. But again, just be prepared to wait for this IP adapter model to load. We can see the picture forming over here in the preview, and although this has a pinkish hue, it's not nearly as strong as I want and doesn't really copy this one. So I'm going to turn the weight up of this up closer to like 75. Going to go ahead and cancel this workflow. Oh, it beat me to it. But you'll notice that it did keep the pose. We didn't put any prompt in here. Now you can see it coming in and it's much closer to the correct color. We can move the weight up even more. It's obviously, I think, borrowing the background from what's going on back here, but the pose is perfectly aligned. But what is the problem? Well, that's not me again. I have added the ability to add a custom LoRa file. I don't have my LoRa on here, but I do have Tracy's. So now we'll put Tracy in here. We will choose a decidedly different style of dress here. We actually move the weights up so we can get an even stronger influence from this. We'll make sure that the Tracy LoRa is chosen and click Q. You'll see that we now have new depth map and a new canny map to reflect this image here. So we can see it coming in. It's close, but there's already some changes I want to make. So I'm going to just stop this because there's no need to let it keep going. We're going to move this weight up even more, and we're going to utilize the prompt, and we're going to say woman with blonde hair. I also want to see if we can get more details of this dress here, and I'm going to use a different preprocessor. I'm going to double click here. I'm going to click on line art, and I'm going to say realistic line art and connect the image here and then connect this out here. We also need to connect this to the preview image node so we can see what's going on. Now let's cue that. And you can already see we've got way more detail here. And it's translating this much better too, although we might just want to prompt that it has a red bow on the front, wearing a dress with a blue top, yellow skirt, and red bow in the front. I'm also looking at the likeness over here. If you ever find when working with a LoRa that the likeness is out of whack, you might also check to see what else is competing against that LoRa. Like in my case here, we have another LoRa that was part of this workflow called the Flux Realism LoRa, which adds details, but it could actually be hurting the progress of this one, although this is looking pretty good. So now we're getting closer and closer to the mix we want, and we could keep tweaking that all day long. But for now, let's go to the last Flux tool. It's a really quick and easy one to show you, and it is a lot of fun to play with, and that is Flux Fill. This is basically really high quality Inpainting, and it couldn't be simpler. You just load in the image that you want to add or change things in, and then you create a mask where you want the change made. You prompt what you want the change to be, and it appears as if by magic. So let's create a little mask on this image here by clicking Open in Mask Editor. We'll adjust the size of the brush we want, and we'll just put something right up here. We'll click Save to Node, and then in the prompt we'll put a fluffy yellow canary. And Q. It's got a couple of models to load. So you can see it building over here. It looks fantastic already. And there you go. Seamless fluffy canary, even in the same style of that image. Let's do another one real quick. Let's put some glasses on him. We can just mask over this entire area. Click on Save Node. We'll say blue metal glasses. Cue that up. And it starts immediately at work. And there you've got the blue metal glasses. But you can't see the eyes. And what if we want to see the eyes? What if we said blue metal glasses with clear lenses and just left that mask just as it was and click on Q? Well, it does it, but those aren't necessarily my eyes because they've been covered up. So we're in here in our mask, and let's just adjust the size a little bit. We'll hold down the Alt key, which will then make this act as an eraser, and let's just clear out the eyes here and click Save Node and try it again. Well, we're getting there. It's more like a visor, but the point is that we can leave my eyes alone. If we want to add to that, we can do this a couple of ways. We can copy this image, and then if you've got a browser that supports this, just paste it right back in, or you can just save it out and then load it back in here. Now we've got this, and now we can add something else. Draw a mask here, and we'll say steampunk robotic vulture on his shoulder. Q prompt. And before I could even zoom out, it's there. Look at that. That was fast. So that's a whole bunch of Flux tools with a lot of creative possibilities, and you're just a click away from all of those workflows. I've added links to the description. If you use those links, you won't need to load anything else except any custom LoRa models that you want to use in these workflows. If this is the type of cool stuff you like to learn about, well, why not subscribe to the channel? Because this is what we talk about all the time.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you, and I